G'day ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another Bitcoin update. Today I'm going to be taking you through a very specific plan that we have for the next move. As per the title, as per the thumbnail, you've probably seen the topic of the video already, but I'm going to be taking you through step by step on fresh charts on both the weekly chart and on the daily chart. A plan, a strategy. Wherever we go next, I'm going to give you a guideline on how to take advantage of that situation via buying, selling, shorting, and longing on both macro and on medium to short-term time frames. So without further ado, let's dive straight into the video off the rip. So I need to draw up a few lines, but perhaps you can copy my chart if you want to follow this plan. If you don't, it gives you an idea regardless of what the next move is going to look like. But I'll show you exactly what I'm looking at right now from a trader's perspective, because we've gone through the analysis. We did that yesterday. Now I can take you through exactly what I'm going to be doing, how I'm going to be reacting. So I want you to go to the daily chart. Perhaps you're not following along, who knows? If you want to follow along, you can. The daily chart, one of the lines I'm looking at right now on the daily chart is an uptrending support line stemming from where I just drew it, stemming from back here in October 14th, 2022. That's a very important support line. It's support right now, but it was resistance for a very long period of time. As you can see, we rejected from that line on multiple occasions here in January and February. That line is kind of what is holding up the current Bitcoin structure. If we flip into the 4-hourly chart, we can really see that. We can see that over on this 4-hourly time frame, and perhaps the Bitfinex chart I'm looking at here is not the best example of it, but on the 4-hourly time frame, we can generally see that this support line here in red is holding us up. In fact, I'm going to make it yellow. It's kind of holding Bitcoin up in this over leveraged position. I would say we're pretty overbought at this period of time, but it's holding Bitcoin up. And so that's a very important line. Flipping back to a daily chart, we can start identifying a few more lines, okay? One of the important lines, and everyone knows this obviously, is 25.2K. 25.2K was the top of the range that we saw since June 2022, okay? And if we actually flipped over to the Binance chart for a second, we can see these lines line up a bit more accurately here than we can on the chart I was looking at. The range there at 25.2K, this top line, I'll make it pink so you can see it. It's very important. It's the top of the range. It's the validation zone of the range in August. It's the rejection point of the range in February. And right now it's acting as a pretty strong support zone if we were to drop down further and lose that yellow line. So that's one of the things I'm looking at there, but I'll jump into that in a second. Another thing I want to look at, and we'll flip over to the weekly chart for this, is 28.6K. We know what 28.6K is. 28.6K is basically what held up Bitcoin throughout the entire bull market, okay? You can see multiple retests of 28.6K during that 2020 to 2022 period. We finally lost it, and when we lost it, we dropped downwards massively in a very short span of time. Right now, we are testing that region for resistance, okay? So we're bumping our heads on top of it, trying to break through. If we break through, it's very good. If we don't break through, it's not so good. We're going to be going downwards again, right? So look, this is what I'll propose to you right now. I will propose to you this, and this is a short-term scenario. Now, obviously, if we draw in 28.6K, okay, Bitcoin is bumping its head on that region there, on that pink line. So basically, Bitcoin has to make a move eventually. Okay, you can see that Bitcoin is now compressing between this yellow line that I just drew in and 28.6K, a very major resistance in the weekly chart. It's compressing. Eventually, it's going to have to move upwards. It's going to have to break to the upside, or it's going to have to break to the downside. Now, the good part about a downside break is there's no historical support, okay? There's no historical support. Let's draw up 25.2K. There is no historical support, really, between 28.6K and 25.2K. Look at the volume profile. Massive gap on the volume profile on the right-hand side of the screen. What this means is that if Bitcoin is to reject from 28.6K, the only support we have before we go down to 25.2K is this uptrending yellow line. So what this means from a trader's perspective, because a normal person might look at this and think, oh yes, so what? But from a trader's perspective, you can do a lot with that information. You can go to the short-term chart and you can understand that if we lose that line, okay, specifically on the Binance chart, in fact, let's go to the Binance chart. If we lose that line, that uptrending yellow line, okay, let's delete everything. If we lose that yellow uptrending line on the Binance chart, we have no support in this massive gap. And so this is an optimal short position. So what I'll propose to you is this. If we lose that yellow uptrending support line, you should be looking for a short position on Bitcoin down to around 25.2K, which is the nearest local support. That is a very logical short trade to take. And for that short trade, you're going to be looking to put your stop loss back above 28.6K. Or if you're less conservative, if you're more risk averse, you can honestly just put it back above the yellow line after a breakdown. That's a very easy to take short trade. It's very optimal considering the circumstances of there being no real targets between this breakdown of yellow line and 25.2k. So that is what I would recommend for a short term if we break downwards. Now, if we break upwards, it's a different story. The reason why it's a different story is because we don't really have any short-term indicators to look at for an upwards break. We're actually waiting for a weekly candle close to the upside. Because obviously this is a weekly candle resistance. This is a resistance line that has existed back in 2020, back in 2021, back in 2022. And so we're looking for a little bit more of a daily candle close like we would be with that short position there, perhaps even a 4-hourly candle close in the short position. We're looking for a weekly. And so I've kind of given you a guideline for the short. So if we break down from that yellow line that I just showed you, take a short trade down to 25.2k, and that would be relatively profitable. You're looking to gain, well, let's go ahead and mock up, let's go ahead and make up a short position here. Say we break down in a few days, you're looking to gain roughly 7.5%, which on 10x leverage would be 75%, assuming you enter a little bit late, say 50% profit. It's a pretty good profit considering the risk ratio is very low. If you set your stop loss back above the yellow line, you're looking at about a 10% loss for a 60% profit. Very good stuff, right? But if we're looking at a long position, right, we're looking for a weekly candle close above. Now, this wouldn't necessarily be a long position. This would be more like a macro buy position. We've already placed our macro buys. That's very important to note. I was bullish on Bitcoin since 16k. I've been recommending buying at levels since 16k. We've got an average price from a YouTube channel around 19k. And so this is a late macro buy position. Perhaps this is somewhere you could add coins to. You could add more Bitcoin to your current position, or if you haven't bought yet, this is where you'd buy. So I wouldn't be looking for a long position on the break to the upside, but I would be looking for a macro buy. It's quite simple. If we break above 28.6k on the weekly candle, it's closing in 2 days and 10 hours, you would be buying Bitcoin. Now, where would you be targeting if that were to occur? Well, obviously, as for targets, you need to find places that are nearest resistance, right? Because when you're breaking to the upside, when you're taking a position that is, adequate to a long position or equal to a long position, which is basically a spot position, you take profit at resistance. Just like how in a short position, you can take profit at support because that's where it's going to bounce. That's where it's going to reverse. So where is the next resistance above 28.6k? That's basically the question I'm asking. And I will go and I'll show you right now. The next resistance above 28.6k, go ahead and go to the daily chart, not the 4-hourly chart here. I can show you real quick. Is quite simply 31. Go ahead and draw in a horizontal line. 31.3 to 4K. I've made this line pink. Let's make it yellow so you can see it. 31.3 to 4K. Yes, it's not the top of the range we had here before dropping down, but it is where we had 2 consecutive pumps of daily candle closes reject from. And if we zoom backwards, right, to this drop here in June through to May to July 2021, it's also where we saw multiple bounces of support on multiple occurrences, both through candle closes and wicks. I'm circling them right now. Okay, so 31.3k, 31.4k, somewhere in that rough price region is where you'd be looking to take profit on a weekly candle close above 28.6k. Now, obviously, if you're waiting for a weekly candle close above 28.6k, there's actually a decently high chance that we could actually close as high as 31.4k because it's actually not very far apart. So on that scenario, you need a higher take profit. And of course, 31.4k to 28.6k is not a very big profit region for a weekly candle swap position. So, perhaps you're aiming a little bit higher. And in that case, you'd be targeting some higher resistance. We can get into that right now as well. Now, obviously, we have the resistance that was formed on this local literal range here. As you can see, this is a range we formed before dropping downwards further, and that resistance would be stemming from around 32.7k. And that is also where we bounced in support in January 2022, just before this dead cat bounce. So the next take profit would be 32.7k, and we'll go ahead and give you one more as well. And a one above that could be a little bit higher. You're looking at a little bit more optimistic target, and that would be 37.4k. I'll clean up this chart so you can see it quite clearly here. But that is that top pink line that I've just drawn in. That is where we found support just before dropping here in April. It's also where we found support multiple times during the dead cat bounce. And also, if we're zooming all the way back here to around that August region, it's where we actually found support after breaking above this entire range that we've been seeing here. We bounced off that region and went further to the upside. So 3 targets to the upside for a macro breakout above 28.6k would be 31.3k, 32.7k, and 37.4k. All of those are rough, kind of vague targets, but you get the point, right? They're in those price regions. And as for a short position, if we were to break down, so that's if we were to break up. And as for a short position, if we were to break down, you're looking at this yellow uptrending line, and you're looking at 25.2k-ish for a take profit. So that's basically the plan, the strategy I'm using right now. I'm looking for, you know, adding to my Bitcoin bags for a break above 28.6k. And if we were to go downwards further, I'd look for a take profit at 25.2. Now, if we were to drop below 25.2, okay, which in that case would actually be very bearish. Not very bearish, but it wouldn't be good, put it that way, because obviously we've made a lot of macro progress to the upside now, okay? And we've broken above this range. And if we were to drop back below into that range, that's when we need to start considering the bearish argument again. So if that happens, we'll speak about it when it happens, but I really don't see that occurring at this point in time. I think the Bitcoin has bottomed out. I think the Bitcoin now is macro bullish. Perhaps we see some correction and consolidation in this range before eventually moving upwards above 28.6. But I do see it as relatively unlikely to drop back below 25.2 for any extended period of time at least. And if we did do that, again, I'd have to give the bearish argument a little bit more weight because it doesn't really seem like a natural course of action. Once you break a range that's been, acting as resistance for over 300 days, you don't really break back below it if you're going to keep going to the upside. That's kind of a very bearish thing to do. So that's kind of my view on Bitcoin. That's my strategy for Bitcoin. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you find it useful. Maybe go ahead and write it down, put it in a chart, see how it plays out, and potentially you can take some of those trades there. But that's honestly what I'm looking at there. A couple of scenarios to give you there. So without further ado, I want to look at a few things before we end the video. First and foremost, BitGet Exchange. This is an exchange that I personally use. I used to use Binance. I don't use Binance anymore. Various things happen on Binance that made me not trust the exchange to the extent of which I did in the beginning of my, I guess you could say trading career, because that's kind of the first, I used exchanges before Binance, but that's the first one I started taking it really seriously on. I really did not like. I didn't enjoy my experience on Binance. I moved over to BitGet over a year ago now, and I've been using it ever since. I reached out to these guys for a partnership. They didn't even reach out to me. I reached out to them. We got the partnership, and for that reason, they've given me a referral link to give you guys, get a 15% trading fee discount on all of the fees on the exchange for life if you sign up using my referral link. That's on top of the fact that this exchange is already 5 times cheaper than Binance. So a very cheap exchange. Go ahead and try it out if you want to and support the channel and support yourself as a trader as well. And then we've also got the Crypto Academy, guys. This is if you want to learn how to trade. And I encourage everyone to learn how to trade, whether it's, through the Crypto Academy, whether it's through something else, YouTube, websites, whatever it might be, books. Anyone should learn how to trade. I don't care if you buy the course or not. Learn how to trade. You have to. It's not something you can treat as a hobby. You need to treat this seriously like a job. This is one of the places you can do it, one of the many places. If you want to do it with me, you can. Crypto Academy courses, 10-unit course, Become a Trader. You can find out all the information about the course on the website, which I'll put a link to in the description of this video. And basically, it's taking you through everything you need to know, from fundamental concepts like what's Bitcoin, to market patterns, to indicators, to candlesticks, to market psychology, to how to find trades, how to manage risk. All that kind of stuff is in this course here. So go ahead and check it out on the website and throw us an email at cryptoacademycourses@gmail.com if you're interested, and we'll answer any questions you really have about the course and send you more details for free, of course. So one more thing I wanted to mention is the VIP group. Right, we post trading signals on altcoins 5 times a week. It's 100 USD for 3 months. Go ahead and join that group. We've been very profitable. If you want to take advantage on trading, if you want to get more videos just like what I've done today here on Bitcoin, but with altcoins, you can do so in the VIP group. So go ahead and check that out if you're interested as well. Okay, guys, thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.